And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Tuesday morning's flying weather graphics showing a lot of IFR here over the eastern Bering Sea and along the west coast areas, and then expanding eastward along the southern slopes of the Brooks Range, and some IFR in the eastern slopes of the western Alaska Range up into western Prince William Sound area, VFR for the central part of the state, Tanana Valley, down to the Copper River Basin. Marginal VFR over the northern three quarters of the southeast coast. And then for the afternoon, this area of IFR starts to dissipate a little bit here, and still pretty well entrenched over the Kuskokwim Valley to the Alaska Range on down across Bristol Bay, but improving out to the west to marginal VFR conditions. And IFR mainly along the central and southern slopes of, or the southern slopes of the central and western Brooks Range area on down through the Bering Strait into the Seward Peninsula, and improving western Prince William Sound and VFR from Yakutat on down across the Panhandle, Copper River Basin, Susitna Valley, becoming VFR in the Matanuska Valley, as well as expanding VFR there over the central and eastern interior to the North Slope and Arctic coast. And then for the Wednesday morning time frame, still some IFR here, Kuskokwim Valley and the western Alaska Range down across Bristol Bay and the Aleutian Range. Marginal for Kodiak Island, marginal for the Alaska Peninsula, becoming VFR for the central and eastern Aleutians, marginal for the Pribilof Islands, and VFR in the increase over the northern Bering Sea. Just a narrow band of some IFR here from the northern Koyukuk Valley, maybe along the southern slopes of the western Brooks Range. East side here, good VFR down into Prince William Sound, as well as the Panhandle. Still some marginal VFR for the Kenai Peninsula and Kodiak Island. And then for the afternoon, VFR now into the Kuskokwim Valley. Still some IFR here over the southwest interior, maybe along the Alaska Range there. Otherwise, just a couple areas of marginal VFR there along the Brooks Range. Good VFR for the interior of the state, North Gulf Coast, down across the Panhandle. And mostly marginal for the Aleutians and the southern Bering Sea. For passes, Tuesday, Aniktuvik VFR, and for Adigan, marginal VFR. The way it looks at this point in time here is conditions are better the farther east you are in the Brooks Range. And for Lake Clark and Merrill, IFR, lowest conditions, eastern entrances. For Rainy, IFR, again, lowest conditions on the eastern approach. And for Windy, starting out marginal, becoming VFR, improving also for Isabel, same trend, marginal VFR to VFR. Mintesta, VFR the entire day, Tuesday. Tanita, marginal VFR to VFR. And for Portage, IFR to marginal VFR, so improving for that pass as well. And for Chilkoot and White, VFR. Freezing levels here, 2,000 to 4,000 feet right along the North Gulf Coast, down across the Panhandle. At the surface here down near the Aleutians and Alaska Peninsula, either side, but kind of poking up there into the southwest interior. And again, all that moisture flowing from south to north here brings areas of considerable moderate rime icing over the western interior, on down to just southwest of Kodiak Island, Sitkinak Island there, and then icing free to the east, and improving pretty much icing free to the west as well. And for the jet stream, big area high pressure here centered just about near Yakutat, as you can see, and big trough out here over the west central Bering Sea, and between the two, strong flow from south to north at 33,000 feet up to 150 knots here across the eastern Bering Sea and along the west coast. 9,000 feet showing that high center, this elevation also near Yakutat, and south-southeast flow up to 85 knots there across the western Alaska Range, diminishing to 70 knots up toward the Kobuk Valley areas. Much lighter with the trough of low pressure right through here over the eastern Bering Sea. And looking at 3,000 feet, pretty good south to southeast winds here with this couple of lows here tracking northward at 3,000 feet as well as at the surface. And with those, with this one coming up, 70-knot winds on the increase again and coming northward here from Kodiak Island up into the southwest interior. Otherwise, 45 to 55-knot winds over the western interior up to the north slope, much lighter to the east under high pressure, and light for the panhandle. Turbulence, look for a lot of moderate turbulence here for the central and western part of the state from the Brooks Range there all the way down south central Alaska, the Kuskokwim Valley, especially the western Alaska Range into Bristol Bay and Kodiak Island as well. Smooth to the west and pretty smooth for areas to the east of this zone.